Every once in a while, you come across a recipe that's an absolute game changer. On today's video, I got a wing recipe that is an absolute game changer. Let's get cooking. Don't be scared of these packs of whole wings. They're cheaper, they're easy to cut up. I think these are the way to go if they're at all available. Whole pack of wings can be a little bit intimidating if you're kind of new into this and you haven't messed with them before. You get so much more for your money. Whenever I'm cooking wings, guys, the first thing I do is just dry them off. And right now is the time to dry these guys off. Once you chop them, then you're gonna have to pick each individual piece up. When you're looking at a whole wing, you're looking at three pieces here. You're looking at the tip, which most people don't mess with. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. Then you have your wing and then your drumstick. So let's go ahead, and the first piece is the simple piece, and that's getting the tip off of the rest. And if you just kind of take your knife, it'll settle right in that crease there, and you just pop. All right, now separating these two is pretty easy. I like to look at it from what I'm gonna call the top side here, and you can see the skin, how it's nice and flappy there. So what you have is a joint here, and inside this joint is where we want to put our knife, but I'm going to start up here and just kind of aim for it. Just cut that skin, and now I'm just going to feel where that knot is, and on an angle, just like that. These aren't all for this recipe in this video, but this is a good size foil pan, and it took me literally 16 minutes, and I saved a ton of money by doing it myself. If you can take some of the labor out of the cost and do it yourself in a reasonable and efficient amount of time like this, there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't do it. For the next step, we need a foil pan, or you can use like a cookie sheet, but the main thing here is we want to keep the wings off of the bottom, whether it's the pan or a tin foil pan like this. Now this is what I'm using. You need a salt forward rub. And the reason you want a salt forward rub is because you want a bite through, nice crispy skin. And we're gonna put these in the fridge, and I want this salt to help with the dry air of the refrigerator to make sure that we get a nice crispy bite through skin. And so just gonna sprinkle a little on. Got the wind blowing here. Get them in place, separate them so they can get air flowing between them, underneath of them. That's the trick. We want that cold refrigerated air. All right, now the wind's blowing, but I'm gonna give them one more layer on top. Bam, in the refrigerator for an hour. If you wanna do them longer, you can easily do them for 4, 5, 6 hours. You could do them overnight if you really wanted to. Cooking on Old Faithful, the RecTech RT680 pellet grill. I have a lot of wings to do, and I want to be able to make sure I get them just right. So I don't want problems with, switching grills or going between two different grills or anything like that. I know this thing's gonna get it done, even as old as it is. This is Grandpa now, and Grandpa is reliable. So let's get it fired up. Here's the thing, this is important. We're gonna start out at 225 degrees. We're gonna start low, real low and slow. Now I can hear some of you guys now, you're like, 225? You can't do chicken wings at 225. My little knob's broke. That's pretty much the only thing wrong with it, except the lead goes back a little far. Start at 225. What we're looking for here is to very slowly bring the wings up to temperature, at least until we get up to about 150 degrees internal Fahrenheit, or about halfway through the cook, which will be 45 minutes to an hour or so. And you can judge that. I'll show you how to judge that later. What I want right now is I want these wings to sit in this butter and this stock and just come up to temperature nice and slow, and let the fat under that skin start breaking down. Yeah, I mentioned butter and stock. Let me show you what we're doing with the wings. All right, here is the pan that we were using earlier. And here's our chicken wings out of the refrigerator. I'm gonna take these, and there are a few extras because I had to fit them all in 4 pans and we were just running tight on space. But when they go in this pan, you usually don't wanna overcrowd wings. In this case, it's not so much a big deal right now. It'll be a little more important later. But right now, we're just trying to bring those temperatures up nice and slow. and make sure they're all nice and flat on the bottom of the pan. Now I'm just gonna add, I'm gonna say maybe a half a cup of stock, chicken stock. You just want the bottom coated. And the main reason for this is you want to make sure that that liquid layer on the bottom of the pan doesn't evaporate while they're cooking. And then the secret ingredient, butter, my friends. Always use butter on your chicken wings. You can thank me later, and I should probably use a little more. There we go. All right, here we go. All right, so we're gonna go 225, and I'm gonna check these probably in 45 minutes or so, just to check that liquid layer in the bottom. I wanna make sure that it doesn't dry out. Under any circumstances, make sure you add more stock or more butter if that looks like it's gonna dry out. But you don't want the liquid level any more than just barely covering the bottom. Careful if you're using aluminum pans, you don't wanna mess up the bottom. You want that to stay flat. I almost messed that one up, and because if you warp the bottom of it, then the liquid will stay in the center, and you won't have any on the edges. I get a lot of questions about what kind of wood or charcoal or pellets I'm using. So just to kind of head that off, I'm using the charcoal pellet by B&B Charcoal. It's an absolutely wonderful pellet. And it's got charcoal in it, so you're kind of getting the best of both worlds. And it looks like I need to add some. Don't overthink it on the flavors of your wood or your charcoal or whatever. The differences are so small in flavor that it's not a big deal. I will tell you though, there's a big difference in woods, pellets, charcoal, and burn quality. I've had pellets that I couldn't get to go up to 300 degrees. And then you have other pellets that'll take you wherever you want to go, 550, even 600. That's the thing that I focus on, is I want a quality burning fuel, rather it's wood, charcoal, pellets, whatever. That's the main thing. All right, let's try these Coca-Cola wings. Woo! The sweetness, that tenderness. There's no better way to do wings than what we just did right there. I would put these wings against any commercial wings I've ever had. The secret is that carbonation, that acid that comes from the Coke, mixed with the butter, the sauce. You can't beat it, I'm telling you. I'm not a competition cook, but if I was, this might be the recipe. You guys have a good one. I'll see you in the next video.